All right, back on Morning Line on the Plus. We're also on Facebook right now, newschannel5.com with your questions and comments. Davidson County Sheriff Daron Hall with us. If you want to join, message us on Facebook, or 737-7587 is the number. And a lot of the questions they're asking, by the way, are things that really aren't in your realm about, you know, why bond is this or that. And we may touch on some of that and some of the legal aspects of it. You're charged with basically incarcerating these individuals. Question for you. One of the more disturbing aspects I see sometimes about society in general is, you know, the Parkland shooting. Youngster there, well, he's an adult, but a younger man. And he's shown on TV, and not long after that, he starts getting fan mail. Okay, now, I've seen some people making the observation that Reinking appears to be a relatively handsome guy by some standards, or whatever people think. What will happen if he starts getting love letters, fan mail from whoever, or if someone wants to put money into his commissary or pay for his legal defense, which, by the way, hard as this is to believe, is happening with that suspect in Parkland, which I just think is awful. But that could, I suspect that's going to happen here. Have you ever had that happen before, and how will you deal with that?
Yeah, you know, we don't govern or control who writes letters and who puts money on accounts. You know, you could go another direction. People used to say, well, what about a drug dealer putting money on someone on it? Well, we don't control whose money it is that's going on their account. That'd be hard for us to do. And I suspect, you know, I read something years ago about, I think the Menendez brothers, and one of them got married after all this. And so there is some kind of fascination with some of these cases. And I suspect, as I mentioned the last couple of days, that, you know, this may be one of the more high-profile cases we've ever had here in Nashville, just because it qualifies for mass murder, of course, and just the significance of the whole issues going on in the country. So it won't surprise me. We will not restrict that. Our purpose in mail and so forth is to ensure there's no contraband and that there's nothing going on, you know, that shouldn't be. We do not read per se what you're writing. We do read some of what's going on to make sure there's no escape potential and other things happening within the letters. But we're not interested in who your relationships are with, and it won't surprise me. We will not restrict that from him, and anything else, money as well. So it won't surprise me as we go forward.
And as far as if he responds with letters, you look at the letters coming in for contraband, maybe just to observe there's nothing that's, you know, out of the ordinary there. What about his letters going out? Do you see those as well?
Yes.
You're able. Now, are those? Do you read those then? Because you know he's not sending contraband out, right? So.
Right. Yeah, and only for the purpose of making sure there's no escape or threats to folks and things like that. We're not trying to read every line to understand what you're really saying. We're more interested in some key language and things that may be of interest. As I think we talked years ago on some cases, some of the you know, the code words that are used in phones and letters, and it's pretty interesting. So, you know, our purpose is not to figure out who your relationships are with. It's to make sure that you're not doing anything that's dangerous to us or anyone else. And so, yeah, there'll be some of that going on the outside. Of course, there's legal mail we don't fool with at all.
Yeah, that's off limits,
right,
legal mail. But do you just find it a little bit disturbing that there's some kind, among some out there, a fascination with some of these twisted suspects behind bars, that people are actually reaching out as though they're celebrities?
Yeah, I don't understand that, and you mentioned it. It's been, you know, well documented. Some of these folks, you know, that will never see the light of day, most of these cases, and will never ever live a day outside of the walls. And to find them getting married and others, and I think it was a Menendez that I was hearing about, and then literally met and married afterwards and all that, with no potential to ever get out and no potential to ever have a traditional life. I don't understand it, and again, you know, this, unfortunately, Nick, this number of people that were killed in this type of case, in the way the nation is, there'll be another one soon, and that will take over. And so maybe the fascination with this guy won't last, unfortunately, because there's other bigger cases in Florida and everything else that may draw more attention. But we. You know, it's going to be a long road. He will be with us for, my prediction is, over a year or so, and a lot to go on between now and then, and many cases, many movements, many things that are going to occur, and he's a young person, so there's a lot to deal with.
Let's take a few phone calls, and then we'll get some comments from Facebook. Let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Joe.
Sheriff.
Good morning, Joe.
2 or 3 quick things. I'm proud to have Daron Hall as the sheriff of Davidson County. He does a very excellent job explaining to the public exactly what a sheriff's duties and how a jail operates. Most people don't understand it at all, but he runs a very, probably, I don't know about all the rest of them, but I'd say he is comparison one of the best in the country, if maybe not the best.
Oh, thank you.
It's a whole lot to it that people don't understand, and he explains it very well. If people would just stop and think, jail is not to be a hotel to begin with, but they get very good treatment, even in our prison system. They get excellent treatment, and they get excellent treatment in the jail. And you can't, I mean, you know, you can't fault anybody for that. So the other thing I'd hit on right quick is the bus driver up in East Tennessee that got convicted. They give him 4 years, and this guy is going to serve 30% of 4 years, and the time he's already been in jail is going to count against that 30%. So he'll be less than a year's time. He'll be walking the streets.
Yeah, he'll be. Yeah, you know, that case, a lot of people were following out of Chattanooga. We have to go to the break, but yeah, he's right. Truth in sentencing, but 4 years. He's already served 1, and then 30% on the remaining. He'll be out in less than a year.
Loose, yeah.
Less than a year.
I had my son one time ask me this question, Dad, how can you get 3 lives as a sentence? And I said, and you can live to do them. I mean, you know, it used to, and I haven't done this in a while, it used to take about 20 years to do a life.
Think about that.
So I mean, but and again, I used to work in that division many years ago, and I could compute this pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, there are most cases in Nashville, if you get 2 years or less as a sentence, by the time you go to court, you're done.
Yeah.
So 4 years, not far off from that. I haven't followed a whole lot about it, but if he's done a year, he's probably ready to go.
He won't spend much more time really behind. Some people upset about that. Listen, let's take a break. When we come back, Stephen, Ethel, and others, we'll get to your phone calls, and we'll address some of the comments we're getting right now on Facebook, as well as we're streaming at newschannel5.com with Sheriff Daron Hall, Davidson County. We'll be right back after this.
The Storm